wish you all the very best. Asante sana.
Bwana asifiwe. I've been asked to talk to you about the benefits of living a life of integrity, or the cost of living the life of lack of integrity. Because I think at a very early age, we need to know that. The thing I want to emphasize is a life of stewardship will help you to live a life of integrity. A life of stewardship will help you to live a life of integrity, and therefore avoid the things that could easily bring you to a very heavy cost. But what is stewardship? Stewardship, a steward is a person who manages what is owned by others. Who is a steward? A person who manages another person's property. Assuming I have a shamba somewhere, and I put a young man to look after that shamba, he can behave because the people don't see me, they just see him. So he can behave like he's the owner. But the truth is, if I got tired of him, I'll fire him, isn't it? But he can cheat himself that he is the owner. But he is only a steward managing another person's property. And what we are saying then is it needs to be understood very early that the moment you get born again, what you become is you become a steward, conducting, supervising, or managing of something that does not belong to you. The careful and responsible management of something that has actually been entrusted to you, but actually belongs to another person. The best example you have is of a bank manager. If you're a bank manager, and maybe your bank has a billion Kenya shillings, what you manage, it means that the signature, when you want a banker's check, the bank manager will sign 100 million to you, and you go with a check. But it's not his money. It's the customer's money. It's the shareholder's money. Now, at the time he is being able to sign a signature, a check of 100 million, he has just been told by his wife, "Darling, on your way home, please come with milk." And actually he has no money at all to buy milk. Can you use the bank money to buy milk? No. He is a billionaire, he is rich, but poor at the same time. And any bank manager will start imagining he is rich, soon enough becomes a crook, and soon enough he is in jail. Am I communicating? So you need to understand that God wants us to live our lives as stewards, people who understand we are not the owners. We must understand two things. For example, just give you an example. The car just come in, I'm the one who drives it. But actually, the logbook is in the name of my wife. So I'm in possession, but my wife is the owner. Am I communicating? Sometimes I forget it until the time when we are renewing the insurance, and I realize I'm not the one, I can't renew, it's not my name. You need to understand that you can be in possession of something, and yet you are not the owner. And that's something that needs to get into your mind. Because the moment you understand that concept of being a owner, several things will happen. Number one, you understand Acts chapter 4 verse 31. All the believers were one in heart and mind. No one claimed that any of his possessions was his own. In other words, he is the one in the possession, but did not claim it his own, but they shared everything they had. And that tells you, when you learn that what you have, you are in possession, but not in ownership, you find it much easier to share with others. Are you getting the point? The book of Acts is giving us, you find it much easier to share with others. So, really, what I want you to understand is that we are first owners of the things we possess. For example, I could easily say that car is my car. but I don't possess it. But even my wife doesn't actually own it. It belongs to God. The meaning of getting born again is, I want to surrender my whole life to you. And when you surrender your life to God, it means anything in your possession also belongs to God. You cannot be born again and not surrender everything to God so that he becomes the owner. In fact, he's asking in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 7, for who makes you different from anyone else? What you have, you did not receive. And if you did receive it, why do you boast as though you did not? The Bible is actually asking you, just go through your properties. What do you have that was not given to you? For example, some of you are waiting for admission to university. Am I right? And haven't gotten an A, clearly the chances are very slim that you're not going to campus. The question is which course you are going to do. But the trouble is, sometimes you start thinking, I am clever. I own a very high IQ. And so you feel, why is the Bible asking you, what do you have you are not given? My IQ is my own. But you know the truth is, IQ is a gift from God. That's why two people can study together, and you study as much as you will and you get a B. She is playing around a lot of the time, but she still gets an A. Have you seen those things happen? Why? Because your IQ is a gift from God, and he has given people differently. Some have high IQ, others low IQ. We are given differently. And when you understand that it's given differently, it means that she doesn't become proud because you got an A, and you don't start apologizing for getting a B. As long as you know you studied your best and got a B, you know the B belongs to the Lord. As long as you did your best and got an A, you know the A belongs to the Lord. Am I communicating? So pride disappears when stewardship is fully understood. Please note that verse. What you have, the Bible is asking, what you have you are not given. Even leave alone IQ. All you need now, when I did my KPE, in our time it was called KPE, it was called Kenya Primary Examination. And the whole exam was done in one day. You did mathematics, you did general subjects, they did English, the day. My friends, however good your IQ, if you ate something in the morning which agreed your stomach and you started diarrhea, you are in the paper, then you run to the toilet, back. And the exam cannot stop because you are diarrhea. Am I right? Will you pass that exam? I want to hear your answer. Will you pass that exam? Is it because you don't have a high IQ? Simply diarrhea. And it's the same thing with your Form 4. Okay, yours was longer, but you can get sick around the time of the exam, and you end up with a lower grade than you have gotten. So the guy who got a high grade thinks I'm clever. What he doesn't know is that God prevented him from diarrhea. So he is not clever. He has been given a gift. Remember the verse we are talking about. What you have, you are not given. Can you see the exam results is a gift from God? Either because of the IQ or because he gave you health during that period of time. And we can talk about anything you think you have. Okay, you think you are beautiful. But how much effort did you put in order to be beautiful? Okay, you think the other girl has a very long nose, but she never selected it. She got exactly what God gave. So when you say you are beautiful, you can't be proud about someone else's property. Because the beauty is a gift from God. He's asking, what you have, you are not given. Just go through. And you see, any proud person, his other title is a fool. Because he is being proud about something that doesn't belong to him. It belongs to God, who is the giver of all things. And I've taken time to emphasize that because the moment you start living your life for the owner, several things. But let me just look at 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10 also. For we brought nothing into this world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. People who want to get rich fall into temptations and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. In other words, when you hear of corrupt people, it's because they are not stewards. They think they own. And because they want to own more and more, they can do anything to make money. The moment you understand you are a steward, riches don't bother you, because you know very well, with or without riches, as long as you are doing your best, because God has set you to be, if you are a steward, then you must work to his glory. As long as you are doing your best. When you have a lot of money or less money, you are at home and happy. And I think it's important that that is fully understood. So, what am I saying? We are actually owned by God. All of us. Anybody born again is actually owned twice. 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 18 says, "For you know that it was not with perishable things, such as silver or gold, that you are redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your forefathers, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect." So, we all belong to God because he created us. Point number one. So we belong to God because he created us. You did not do anything to come. You know, there's no credit for you being born. Even your mother cannot take the credit. Why? Many women are trying to get children and they can't. Have you heard of them? So the child is a gift from God. So you are a gift from God. I keep telling you ladies, maybe the reason why the room where they get baby is called a delivery room. It reminds the mothers that the child doesn't come from the mother. The child passes through the mother. That's what's called a delivery room. You are delivered through your mother. Who do you belong to? God. So number one, you belong to God because he created you. Number two, you belong to God if you are saved because he has died for you. According to this verse we are reading, he has bought you. So you belong to him because he created you. You now belong to him because you have accepted to be cleansed by the blood of Jesus. And I think it will be important that that is in our mind. So, we are then therefore saying that all of us must accept to be stewards. And you are stewards in order to serve God's people. Just look at 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received. We have agreed all you have, all you possess is a gift from God. Use it. How? He's saying you use that gift, whatever gift you have received, to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So anything you have, we are running, if you are a steward, must benefit others, not you. So you might always ask yourself, why has God given me the gift he has given me? Because that gift is not meant for you. That gift is meant for God's people to serve him. So, I like using fruit trees. I think now, currently, is mango season. Am I right? Am I right or wrong? Right. So, and so mango season, mangoes come. Do you know something interesting? If the season for mango fruits come, and nobody plucks the plum, the mango, what happens to the mango? It just falls. Am I right? If still nobody picks it from the ground, what happens to it? It just rots. Am I right? Because the mango tree does not bear fruit for itself. It can't eat. The reason a mango tree exists is for the benefit of God's people. Similarly, my sister, the whole of you exists for the benefit of others. Am I communicating? That's why when we talk about careers, and not from my topic just now, you need to look for a career that is going to do something for God's people. If you want to be an engineer, it's because you can see complications that engineers require to solve for the good of others. We do not go to a career for money. Money is neither here nor there. We go to a career to serve people, and because the people are happy with us, they pay us money. We do not do things for money. we do them for the good of others. Am I communicating? Because if you're a steward, if I give you some money to do some work, you are not a good steward if you don't use the money to serve the purpose for which I gave you. So you need to understand that all you have is God's gift, not for personal gain, for the good of others. By the way, some people like to say, I'm serving God. God has no needs. You can never serve God. It's not difficult to serve God. It's impossible. You can't serve God. For example, I could claim because I'm speaking to you, I'm serving God. But God doesn't require my sermon. Or do you think He requires it? No, you require it, but not God. So we never serve God. We always serve God's people for the glory of God. So all your gifts are to serve God's people to God's glory. Because you are using the gift in a way that honors God. Because God gave you the gift for the good of others. Can you see that the moment you don't start taking things as your own, then corruption disappears? Because you do things for God's glory and for service of man. And you cannot therefore do anything to deprive people of what they deserve. If I make you the sub-county director of education in a certain school, you don't start, and I get good marks to go to Alliance. You don't start changing my name with another name. Why? Because you fear God. And you know God has put you there for the good of everybody. Are we together? So corruption doesn't come where stewardship is actually something that people have taken. And the problem with a lot of us, even in church, this concept of stewardship is not there. I've written a book called A Leader as a Steward. And I would really encourage you, next time you are near Scripture Union Bookshop, or you can Google, you can actually get my book online. A Leader as a Steward by John Nganga. I would encourage you to pick the book to hear more of those concepts, because I don't have enough time to deal with it. If only this concept was understood, people would honor God with their lives and they will live better with one another. Either in a family or in a college or in a neighborhood, people will be careful to serve God by serving others. And that's very, very, very important. So Peter is telling us, use whatever gift you have received from God. Use it. Why? In order to serve others. That's what stewardship is all about. Understanding this is not my gift. I'm clever, but I'm not clever for my sake. I'm clever so that my high IQ can be used to sort out people's problems. So you feel responsible. You can't even be lazy. People who are stewards can't be lazy. And I think that will be very, very important. So I finish on the issue of stewardship with this. If you are a steward, you have the following duties. Number one, following the owner's instruction. A steward is never allowed to do what he wants. He must do what the owner wants. And I think that's what Philippians chapter 4 verse 8 is saying. So you must always ask yourself, I am beautiful. How can I use my beauty to honor God? How can I serve others? Or you can say, I'm rich, I have a lot of money. How can I use this money to serve others? And I must use the money in the way the owner wants me to use the money. Number two, when in doubt on what to do with the owner's gift, seek the owner's mind before any action. Acts 16 verse 6. In other words, you never tell, it's mine, I can do whatever. You know that some people tell you, why are you beating your son? It's my son. I can do with him whatever I want. That's a lie. Your son is not your son. Your son is God's gift to your family. Okay, for a period of time. So you cannot therefore beat up your son and think nobody was. The owner of your son is God who gave you the son. And one day you have to give an answer as to what you did with the son. Have you read the Bible telling fathers not to exasperate their children? I know there is another one saying children should obey their fathers. But you have an instruction for fathers that they must understand their children are not their children. They are only stewards for those children. And God will hold them accountable and what they have done with their children. Number three, if you are a steward, you must think how to increase the owner's value. In other words, according to Matthew 25, the story of the talents, he gives you a talent, he doesn't expect you to just bury it. He expects you to invest it, make it better. For example, he has made you have a brain, an A of an A grade. To get a B will be an embarrassment. So God gave you a brain to get an A, and yet you are happy. Your mother is happy with your B. But God will not be happy because your mother doesn't know that you are an A child. But God knows. So you can't say, but I'm doing better than so. Who told you to compare yourself with others? The other person's brain is not your brain. So you must do what you can. So it's important to ask yourself, am I doing my very best to the glory of God? And whether you're doing your very best will not be judged by your teacher. It's not judged by your neighbor. It's judged by God who knows the truth about you. Can you see stewards cannot be lazy? Am I communicating? Why? Because they are not doing it for human beings. They are doing it for God who sees in secret. So people can come congratulating you for getting an A-. But God is asking you, do you know I gave you a straight A grade mind, but you got an A- for your laziness? God is unhappy with you because of getting an A-, because you did not do your best with the time you had available in Form 4. So it means that you go into the future, do not be proud you are better than so and so. Be proud that you are doing your very best. And if your best gives you a B, smile and be happy with God. The critical thing is not the grade you get. The critical thing is whether you are doing your best. Because the steward, that's the work of the steward, doing the best. In management, they call it sweating the asset. Ensuring the asset has been, or the gift, have been used to the very best. And I think that will be important. So the work of a steward to increase the value of whatever he has been given by God. Next, a steward is a giver. Because you know it is God's things, then you'll be using them. That's why when you are a steward, you find it easy to tithe, easy to give to God, to others in the family. A steward is a giver. It's not you are not tied up to the property. It's not yours. So you are able to be somebody who gives. Next, a steward enjoys God's gift also for himself. In other words, you are not suggesting because you are a steward uses the gift to serve others. Part of it is actually for his own use. And one of the things a steward does, he always gives the account to the owner. You learn to report to the owner what you are doing with what he has given you. I will never forget a statement I got. I was asked, must be 30 years ago or thereabout. I was asked to give a talk in a policeman's dinner. They were having a dinner. They wanted a speaker, so I went to the speaker. Before I spoke, a chief inspector of police, a lady, gave a testimony. And she explained, for me, I went to police college, a non-Christian. And for many years, I've been a policeman who was like others, taking bribes, because I was not born again. Then the other day, I got Jesus Christ. The life of a Christian has been so good. I no longer take kitu kidogo, kwa sababu kwa Yesu nilipata kitu kikubwa. I've never forgotten. That when Christ comes to you, you get kitu. What do you get? Kitu kikubwa. And once you have kitu kikubwa, you can no longer look for kitu kidogo. In other words, corruption no longer bothers her. Because she is so satisfied in God. She is not looking for extra money. She is happy with her salary. She no longer is corrupt again. And I have not forgotten that testimony. If you really want to be somebody who will never end up doing unethical things, have kitu kikubwa, have Jesus in your life, and he brings a sense of satisfaction with or without anything. So you never have an urge to cheat in an exam to get a better grade. Because you see, for you, the grade he gives you, you are happy with it. The critical thing is you have done your best to get that grade. So you can never cheat in an exam to get a better one. Because you're already happy with what God gives you. You are doing your best, and whatever he gives you, you are happy because you know that's what he has decided to give you. Am I clear? So you can no longer end up doing corrupt things or things that will make you do things that do not honor God. And then I had another story of somebody who was going to his home village, and We are still talking about people that are corrupt. Somebody was going to his own village. Unfortunately, the matatu was delayed, and he arrived at around 8:30 in the night. He had only gotten a message, a text, to tell him, you better arrive early, because there is a leopard that is eating people's goats. So I don't want you to come at night. But when he arrives at the village, at the shopping center, and it's 8:30 in the night, he realizes to start looking for a place to sleep. People ask, are you a man? How can you sleep here? Your home is over there. So he felt he can't sleep there. Again, going home, he might meet the leopard. So he negotiated and thought the best thing is to go home. It's too embarrassing to be said that he feared and didn't. But as he was going, before reaching his home, the neighbor's dog had him walking on the road. And it came. And now he realized, oh, I better be a coward. I'm going back to the shopping center. I'll sleep there. So he started running away from the dog. Only to turn and see the leopard was coming from the other side. So he's running away from a dog towards what? Leopard. Can you guess what he did? Can you guess what he did? He turned, once he saw the leopard, he turned around towards the dog. The dog was confused. It just started running. Now you need to understand, the moment is a dog, between a dog and a leopard. A big fear always drives away a small fear. Am I communicating? People who are corrupt have no fear of God. The moment you fear God and you don't want to dishonor God, the policeman will tell you, do you know I will tell you? Say, go ahead. I cannot bribe you. There were 3 boys. One was called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they were told by the king, do you know if you don't worship that statue, I'll throw you in the fire. He said, the truth is, I wouldn't want to go to that fire, but I fear God. Let's be clear, O king. We can never worship. That will dishonor God. And we fear God. We can't go there. And our God is able to rescue us from the fire. But even if he chooses not to rescue us, the fear of God is much more than the fear of the fire. The king was so unhappy that he said the fire should be heated how many times higher? Do this. How many times? 7 times. It was so hot that the guys that were throwing away the boys in the fire died. Only for the boys to end up in the fire, and there was a 4th man. You know that? You know the story, do you? And he came out, and they were not even smelling fire. The fear of God is so big that the fear of the fire was not fear at all. So I want to tell you, the moment you are a steward, you have the fear of God. And because you have the fear of God, the owner, he owns you, he owns your life. One day you have to give an account of him. So it doesn't matter at all what somebody wants to do to you, including throwing you in the fire. You are better off handling the lion, handling the dog, than handling the leopard. Am I communicating? And that's what helps you. Your boyfriend tells you, you know, if you don't behave right, I'm dropping you. Yeah, but I love you. Your nose is the right size. I agree. But if you really love me, you must do what I'm saying. We are 2 adults. We can do anything. Say, no, I fear God. You continue fearing God. I'm picking another girl. Now, if you really fear God, you fear God more than remaining single. Are we together? So you just tell yourself, okay, you go. I'm better off without a boyfriend. I fear being without a boyfriend, but that fear is too small compared to the fear of God. Am I clear? So you need to come to where the fear of God is what drives you. Your desire to honor God is what drives you. All other fears become very small. The other day I had a very tough time because I just spoken at Kabianga University last year. And on my way back at Narok, I was stopped by the police. I even greeted them because I didn't think I have any problem. But one of the senior policemen went to the window of my car and said, Muse, kuja, come out. So I wondered, what for? Only to discover my insurance expired the previous day. That means since I was in Kabianga University for 3 days. When I left, it was okay. But I did not know it. I knew I'm going to get another one soon, but I did not know. I even paid the broker, but I had not gotten the sticker. But I thought, let me go to Kabianga, I'll get the sticker following week. But I said, no, you have no sticker. It's illegal. And then he started talking to me the way they talk to me. You know, we can sort out this matter. Well, with my wife went for a lady one to talk. We were there for more than an hour. They insisted we either talk their language or we appear in court the following Thursday. Now, the following Thursday, I couldn't go to court because I do consultancy work. After I retired, I have a consultancy company, and I was leading a team of people to do a strategic plan for a university. I'm not telling which university. So they were all coming. The council, the management of the university were coming to Naivasha in a hotel for me to lead our discussion on the strategic plan. So I couldn't go to court. So I pleaded, but they said, we are telling you what to do. In fact, the man would say, you are not a woman. You understand these things. Do something. So I explained to him, I fear God. My fear of God is bigger than the fear of losing the contract. I better not. So anyway, finally, they wrote. And we drove to Nairobi, totally confused. What's going to happen next Thursday? Because we are going to begin the workshop on Wednesday, and that was in the middle. We are going for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's not that I did not want the contract. They were paying me a lot of money. It is that my fear of God was much higher than the fear of losing the contract. Am I communicating? And you know something? In the end, we asked somebody who is in Narok to check whether the date can be extended or something like that. They went to the head of the police and he explains. And he said, what's wrong with those friends of yours? Why would they sort out the matter with the police? In other words, even the senior guy is unhappy that we never gave him the money. How can the matter reach here? Could have been sorted out of the ground. Said, oh, those people are the type that don't sort out issues. You know, the guy finally said, okay, if they are that type, he wrote instructions, and I never needed to go to Narok. The Lord had intervened. Remember the story of the 3 boys? They were thrown to the fire, but did they burn? It is true, I was written a demand to go to court. Did I end up in court? That's the God we believe in. But sometimes he allows you to go through. I've actually been locked up in police cells. But you need to come to the level where your fear of God is much higher than the fear of going to jail. It's much higher than the fear of losing money. It's much higher than the fear of remaining jobless. Am I communicating? So that stewardship, understanding your life is not your own, it belongs to God, will ensure that you cannot get involved in things that are going to put you in the wrong place. Now, I want to ask every two people to talk, so be near each other. Now, if you are alone, you may need to go to where you can become 3. I want you to, we are all participating. Tell me, what is the hardest integrity issue you have ever faced? You want to share with each other. The hardest integrity issue. Have you ever been tempted? I've given you my examples. What have you been tempted in? Tempted to do the wrong thing. Tempted to do something that will not honor God. Tempted to do something that is immoral or not right. Then also tell us, how did you deal with it? And you have only 5 minutes to do that. Is the question clear? Yes or no? Is the question clear? Hey, you people don't answer. So just do it, and then in 5 minutes, one of you will give me the report.